I think 2-3 weeks ago, I have talked to Peijun. She's one of your Switzerland students, Swiss students, and we were talking about one of the book. It says God, he only has the good intention, nothing bad. So not like in our world is there's good and there is bad. There is there's a two, how do you say, how do you call
duality.
that? Duality, yeah. So is it duality only in our world, or duality exists already from this starting from the source?
Duality is only a function of the physical universe, and predominantly it's noticeable in the gross physical aspects of the physical universe, which means the first three frequencies, which is where we are right now, although our bodies occupy another four frequencies to enable the energy templates to be manifest to allow the gross physical to exist. So we've got four other bodies that are higher frequency above the gross physical, but there are also three other bodies below that that also make the gross physical. So there are 7 energy templates, and again, these are only as a result of being here. So duality is a function of the loss of communicative bandwidth that we have. So rather than having lots of different shades of grey, so to speak, in terms of how we understand things, because we lose our communicative bandwidth through our frequencies by being in this low down in the multiversal environment, the lowest frequencies within this particular universe within the multiversal environment, we then start to come down to just two major things: good and bad, black and white, up and down, left and right, forwards and backwards, yin and yang. And so that's the duality, really. Whereas if we can start to understand there's bits in between, then we're starting to think in a higher frequency way.
I don't understand. Why do we need to understand that? I mean, if we came to the world, when we came here, does it mean we knew nothing? We have to learn that, or?
It's something we tend to forget as a function of incarnation. So in reality, we don't probably need to know it as a shall we say, a rule of physics or a rule of psycho-spiritual thought processes. But what we do need to do is understand that in recognizing duality, that's a part of the learning process. That is one of the reasons why we're here. And so it's not really a case of, is being here specifically for experiencing duality. It's part of the experience.
Okay. And you mentioned duality exists in the first 4.
Really in the first. Well, if we said it's really in the lowest frequencies that allows manifestation of form in the physical universe, then that's really the first 3 frequencies.
First 3, okay. And we are in the first 3 frequencies right now.
We certainly are. The gross physical is manifested by the first 3. Although I say the first 3, I mean the whole of the physical universe, the whole of the physical universe has an aspect of duality associated with it, but that duality is not so defined as we move up the frequency. So it becomes less duality, so to speak, and more polarity, if that makes any sense. More lots of different understandings.
I don't completely follow here.
Well, basically, it's all about when we're in the gross physical, we are limited, extremely limited, as a function
Mm-hmm.
of the frequencies that are here. Think of it like trying to access the internet
Mm-hmm.
um, with the technology we had as Romans or as Saxons or in the, you know, the Ming Dynasty in China.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have the capability, but we have the ability to communicate via handwritten letters, which are delivered by people who ride vast distances on horses or in carriages to get there. So there is extremely limited levels of communication between us. Whereas where we are now,
Mm-hmm.
we're using a lot more frequencies. We're using um, microwave technology to be able to communicate, which is very, very fast. And so what's happened now is we start to get to a point where, because we're higher frequency, our
Okay.
communicability is more instantaneous. Now, if we use that example and say, okay, what happens when we go to the fourth frequency level?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it increases even more. Our ability to understand becomes even more. So it's the ability. So the ability to understand becoming more the higher the
Mm-hmm.
frequency we are is a result of being able to communicate faster because of the higher frequencies.
Yeah.
Result of being able to communicate faster, we go from having only two ways to respond, yes or no,
Mm-hmm.
black or white, yin and yang, duality, it's right or wrong, to understanding it's just experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I get it. Right now, actually, we are in higher frequencies than, for example, Min or Qing dynasty, whatever. That's why we understand things much faster and we communicate quicker.
Correct. Absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So, but doesn't mean higher frequency means we are better person than the people in the lower frequency. Can I say so?
Um, we are better people than we were a few hundred years ago, definitely.
Okay.
And
Oh,
those of us who are a higher frequency are more evolved usually than those who are not so um, not so good at dealing with things. They, you know, people who are always angry or selfish or materialistic or status driven.
okay. So means we are indeed better person than when we are in the ancient time, in the lower frequency time.
Yes, we are better than that, definitely. Yes, but we also have a differential between different people depending upon their evolutionary level, and therefore the frequency at which they naturally resonate whilst they're here in this particular incarnation in this time.
In which way we are better?
Well, we're not better than anybody else. We're not better than people, but we are more evolved. So that's the only betterness we are.
Okay. Okay, humbly involved. That's the only. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. But I also read a book, and the other book says in this past, I don't know how many years, there were several civilization was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so who destroyed that and why? If we have such, if it's us, then if we have so high frequency, why do we do that?
Basically, the way that the civilizations were going from a thought process point of view was such that it wasn't that they were no longer increasing in frequency, they were decreasing in frequency. And so those entities that are who've been given authority by all of
Mm-hmm.
us to govern various parts of the physical universe, including here, because
Mm-hmm.
this is a very, very important part of the physical universe, because this is where we've got this experiment in individualized free will, decided collectively that it wasn't of benefit to allow the continued downward trend of a particular civilization. So in that respect, there was no point in taking it any further. So because the end was understood, as a result of that, well, we just take a shortcut and stop that civilization and recreate something else. So that's why we get things like legends of the Great Flood, for example, or meteorites or something, affecting the Earth and wiping out a lot of the dinosaur civilization before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a collective decision made by those entities that we've elected to govern the Earth, whilst we are using it for accelerating our evolution through individualized free will.
Okay.
It's a bit like, let me explain it in simple terms. If you go down a road and you can see in the distance that it's a dead-end street, and you thought it was going to go somewhere, but it's not, it's going to end with a barrier, then you don't go all the way to the end to the barrier. If you can see the barrier in the distance, you stop and you turn around and you go back. And this stopping and turning around and going back is equal to stopping the already decreasing frequency of that particular civilization, so that it doesn't go any further down the frequencies, and so that something else can be manifested in its place.
Okay. And today where we are we continue going up, or is it going down, or we have seen some barriers and then we are turning
Well,
where we are today?
Basically, we're going down. As you can see, we had a peak around 2012. And it started to go down, but it was very slow first, and now we're dropping down quite quickly. But if we look at the average of the progression of our frequential progression, then our average is still going up. But right now we're having a little downward period, which is a bit longer than expected. So although on average we are going up, we're on the downward slope of a sawtooth profile.
So we are still, even it's going down a little bit, but the trend is because the majority is still going up.
Yeah, right now we're all going down, but the average is that we're going up, and part of that overall average of us going up means that we start to recognize that we are going down, and we start to address issues which are maintaining the downward spiral, such as no longer accepting certain leaders in certain countries, such as changing the way we use energy, how we create energy, how we interact with others, how we no longer accept that there are people in the world starving, where there are other people in the world who are extremely affluent and and have more food and more wealth than some countries, and we share it out instead. That's where we start. That's the start of understanding.
Okay, so the good thing is people realize that, and people are fighting for the good things, for the good.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Then if you see the future, so do we win?
Do we win?
Yeah, who wins?
Who wins?
Yes.
Eventually, good wins. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I've just finished. I'm going to the editing phase, my 9th book, and right at the very end, I talked to the editors I was talking to. We're talking about heaven on earth, and I was given an image of what it's going to be in about 150 years' time. And it's going to be a completely different planet. We are going to be re-greening deserts. moving into deserts and occupying deserts rather than occupying, fields and forests. We're going to reforest a lot of the areas that have been decimated by, the need for paper, for example. If we do live in the areas that are currently available, we will be living underground in harmony, and we're going to be working on, everybody's got a role to play and everybody's equal, and therefore everybody's got an equal way of existing and living and contributing.
Did I hear living underground?
Yeah, we'll be living. We won't all live underground, but rather than having skyscrapers, we'll have ground scrapers. That makes it easy. So,
but why?
because we want to create a green planet.
Okay.
And try to repopulate the deserts, although we will still maintain some of the indigenous species that work within the desert, live and exist within deserts, because they've also got an ecological role to play in the Earth's environment and its atmosphere. But we'll be trying to make deserts green again. We'll be trying to use etheric technology, various different materials that when placed together and rotated in different ways or moved in different ways, push the etheric in the atmosphere, and therefore can create weather systems and clouds, and therefore those areas that are arid and dry will be now able to have regular rainfall, and so we'll move. If we expand, we'll move into the deserts, and those areas will also be created green as well. So where things are naturally green, we will maintain it or put it back to what it was. We're already starting that to some extent. I mean, farmlands now, farmers are getting grants to let them what they call it, rewild, aren't they? To let it go back to nature, basically. And they're getting grants to do that, and that's the whole point, is that we've got this ability to still exist here, but coexist in total harmony with the environment and the ecological system that is the Earth.
You mentioned
work together as well.
You mentioned energy. What kind of energy was that?
We're looking at, well, in those, I don't think in that part of the book we talked about energy, but it was more to do with it wasn't fossil fuels. We'd abandoned fossil fuels in 150 years' time. It was more to do with understanding other ways of gaining energy, other ways of generating electricity, not by using fossil fuels or using any form of jet or internal combustion engine. People will move around the Earth still. Planes will be used mainly for long haul travel, very long haul travel, but most people will be on public transport, intercontinental public transport, which will be much more efficient than it is now. And much more frequent. So there'll be no need to have personal transport systems, although there will be some. It won't be anywhere near what it is now. We'll have very efficient, very useful, very appropriate systems that are basically connected. In some respects, some of the airports represent what we're going to achieve under the ground, which is have lots and lots of hubs. So you go from one hub to another hub, a bit like a train station to another train station, changing trains. So, sort of thing.
Okay. So that means you don't see our planet is destroyed by nuclear weapon or something like that. This will not happen.
No. Even the most what I'm picking up is even the most negative leader won't go down that road because it's fully understood what the damage would be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a self-destruct button. It's not a case of, oh, I'm going to destroy my enemy, because it destroys them as well. So why would you kill yourself just to kill your enemy? It's sort of a nonsense. And leaders, even though they're, like, for instance, like the Russian president, even people like him, or even before him, think people like Idi Amin and those sorts of people, they would understand that there is no point in using such technologies because it makes no sense to be the only person alive on an island,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore being the governor and the director and the workforce. So they understand there'll be a level of enlightenment in terms of the way people think, behave, and act.
Okay, so even as crazy as she is, I mean, our president, I mean, he's not mine. Okay, anyway, so he wouldn't do that.
No,
Okay.
he's got a, they've all got an understanding of what to maintain. They've all got a survival instinct.
Yeah.
And you don't use a tool which is going to kill you as well as the people that you belong to.
Okay, because we all believe, we all knew as a Chinese, we all knew he's a little bit too crazy, and he's so cold-hearted. So, but okay, good to know that part. Good to know. Good to know how you see it. The other question is, right now, a lot of countries, they are withdrawing the certificate, or they're talking about that. So do you see, when do you see then we can travel as before, as free as before? Will this happen again?
It will happen, but at first we'll still be travelling with the COVID certificates. My understanding is that towards the end of the year, this year, the need for it the need for quarantining and the need for testing will disappear. As long as you've been vaccinated, you'll be okay. And although at the moment there are some locations within the world that are not accepting certain vaccination types, eventually they'll all be accepted by all countries.
Okay, so it means people still need to be vaccinated.
They will be, but again, once there's this recognition that there is shall we say, a majority of the individuals on the planet that have been vaccinated, and that the others have got, it's their free will to not be vaccinated, but it's not going to affect the other people if they have COVID-19 or any other sort of version of it, because the vast majority of people on the earth are vaccinated, then it'll be acceptable to not be vaccinated or and not need a up-to-date vaccination, because it'll be classified as an endemic, as like the cold, or like the common cold or the flu, and when that happens, it's just a matter of being healthy and looking after yourself, and not spreading disease in the same way as we would be careful, a couple of years ago.
Couple of years ago, what happened?
Well, a couple of years ago, we would have a cold, but we wouldn't quarantine, would we? We wouldn't be refused entry into different countries without a vaccination for a flu, for example. But now we do, and eventually it'll go back to that we don't need to have vaccinations, because the vast majority of the population will be vaccinated, and therefore will have a high level of immunity.
Okay, and do you see if there will be another wave of new virus, which is worse, coming to attack, and then we have to go back to the quarantine period? or lockdown, whatever?
No, I do see a couple of new variants, but they won't be as anywhere near as dangerous. That makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Oh,
And,
that.
and so you'll see people they'll be tested positive for having COVID-19, but they won't be they won't be ill.
Mhm.
So and maybe they feel a little bit low or a little bit a little bit sort of lacking in power for a bit, and then they'll be okay.
Okay. Okay. So it's
Maybe
not.
maybe another. Well, there'll always be derivatives. There'll always be new versions, but the shall we say the negative effect of it will be less and less and less.
Okay. Cool. That's good news. I asked Tom if he has some questions. Otherwise, I'm always asking. I ask all my questions then. Hey,
Yeah.
Tom.
Hello, you can hear me, yeah?
Yes, very
Yeah.
well.
Nice. Yeah, I have a question. I was this past how many weeks I was meditating every day. I'm reading a book as well. I always believe, a lot of Chinese also believe everything is decided in our life. Everything is decided. And if anything happens, bad things happen, good things happens, we always told ourselves everything decided. Nothing is by chance. But then I also read something like a law of attraction. So you have to attract positive thing rather than think about negative all the time. So I'm just wondering, Guy, is everything decided, or we can? What's exact? Is this right? Everything decided.
Um, there is something called a life plan, and it's well known in spiritual understanding that we have a life plan. Now, this doesn't mean everything is preordained or is already agreed, or that everything that we're doing we've already done or agreed to do it. But what it does mean is that we are going to do it, but in a way which is up to us. So it's a bit like a series of things we have to experience, but how we experience them is up to us. How we for example, let me give you an example. If one of our goals in our life plan is to travel from, let's say, Shanghai to Dali, okay, or in the Kunming district, then how we get there is up to us. The goal is to go from Shanghai to Dali. We can fly there, we can drive there, we can get a train there, we can hitchhike there, we can walk there, we can get a bicycle and cycle there, we can get a motorbike and ride a motorbike there. So each of those different ways achieves the same thing. So how we achieve these various different goals is in effect our free will. So people say we don't have free will, but we do. But our free will is based upon how we experience something, how we do it ourselves, how we create the condition where we experience a level of depth of experience whilst we're achieving our goals.
Okay, so that means the bigger plan is already decided. That's what our big plan. But how to achieve those? That's involved in law of attraction. Is that what you're saying, Guy?
It's not so much the law of attraction. It's more a case of certain things are put in our place so that we can experience them. So every soul on the planet is interacting with every other soul in some way, whether it's local or whether it's at a significant distance. So we're all interacting with each other because we all benefit from the interaction with each other, and we're all interacting with each other because we have a part to play in each other's goals.
Yeah, that's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Certainly is.
imagine everybody, yeah, involved. Yeah.
It certainly is complicated, and it's just that it's almost like having a play, and that play has got lots of actors, and each of the actors, or each of the people in the play, have a part to play in the play, and without them, the play doesn't go ahead.
Yeah, interesting. And okay, my next question is about meditation, and I do see, you know, after meditation I do feel really well, and I don't feel the time pass, and I can, after the meditation I do feel sometimes my eye is tearing for some reason, and I do see a nice color, purple color, almost every time, but not all the time. You see, it have to be really peaceful, and the good feeling comes, and I do see those colors. And what's the further, like, you know, if I'm, is that a meditation? I'm in the correct direction, and after that, Guy, you probably have a loads meditation, I'm sure, years, how many years, and then did you see the cracking? What's after that? And step forward or something? Do you see more? I'm not trying to see more, but just sit there. I do enjoy the meditation part, but what follows after this type meditation I'm doing?
Well, basically, once you learn to quieten the mind, which is basically what you're doing,
Yeah.
then you start to control the body, and then when you start to control the body, you slow yourself right down. You start to be able to detach from the body.
Okay.
And then when you detach
from body.
yeah,
Okay.
detach. So detach your sentience from the body.
Okay.
And then when you detach your sentience from the body, you can move your sentience around the multiverse in different locations other than where the body currently is.
Wow. Okay.
Is it leaving your body's experience, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. Some people call it astral travel, but you can go much further than astral travel. You can take your sentience right into the other universes within the multiverse.
Yeah, I hear that before. Guy, you're not the only one said that. I hear different people saying something like that as well. So I'm doing meditation. I get peaceful. What's next target? Not target, like you don't we're not supposed to really focus something like that, but we will come if we can continue meditate. That means the next step will be detached from our body and go different places.
That's right. Yes, you'll start to be able to move outside the body. Yes.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's cool. Guy, do you remember the first time you have that experience?
Yeah, he didn't think it was outside at first. I thought it was inside the body. And it was in a different frequency level. It was like it was only just outside these frequencies. So you call it the astral levels, and it really felt like I was still in the body, but things worked differently. things worked much differently. For instance,
Wow,
levitation worked, those sort of things. You know?
that's brilliant. Okay.
So you know, you could communicate without speaking. You could understand things much more than we do now. You know, there was the way that you viewed things was not through the eyes, but through like a spherical methodology. So it's like watching. It's like having 360-degree vision.
Okay. And it's very clear, or just imagination type, or it's really clear. You can see it, color and shape and everything.
Significantly clearer than it is than through our eyes. Significantly clearer.
God, okay.
You
That's
can't
amazing.
describe it. You can't describe it unless you experience it. It's really quite profound.
Okay.
Really quite profound. Yeah, really quite profound. It's almost like you think you're dreaming, but you're not. Yeah.
Sometimes when we do meditation and then we have seen our past life, and we've seen ourselves in different roles, what those is this kind of message telling us something, communicating, and what is that for? What's the purpose?
Well, sometimes it's just a memory, and you're sort of reliving it, or because we can go there as well, because in actuality we all exist concurrently. We don't exist in time. We don't exist in the future or the past. We exist in a now, in a nowness, and that nowness is really where we are. And sometimes if we dream something, we may have a memory of previous incarnation, or it may be that we're experiencing some form of astral travel, or moving out of the body, and we're interpreting what we're seeing, or we are being given information or guidance by our guides and helpers, and that guidance is best received in imagery. So it may feel like it's a past life, but actually it's, or it might, or if actually if we're experiencing something in this life, which is a karmic chore, or something we've got to move away from, or experience and experience the opposite side, we may be given imagery of this to make us remember that, well, okay, what we're experiencing now is the other side of what we experienced last time. So we're experiencing again the two sides of the duality.
Wow. And Guy, when you do a meditation, is the environment you are doing meditation important? For example, can you meditate in a office environment? Can we meditate in the park? Anywhere with those people there? Can you do meditation there? Can you go travel like a man detached from the body and travel? Do you think people can do that, or have to be
Yeah.
really quiet?
Initially, while you're learning, you have to have a really quiet environment, because you get distracted by the environment. But later you can do it anywhere. Do it on a plane.
Wow, interesting. It's just like once you do a meditation, if you want to detach from your body, you just close your eye. You can do it straight away. Is it?
That's right. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly what it's like. You can just do it. It takes a long time to get to that point, though. A long time to get to that place. But once you've got there, it's easy. It's like learning to ride a bike. Once you've learned to ride the bike, you can then do other things with the bicycle. You can do tricks with it. You know, you can ride longer distances. You can do wheelies. You can ride different types of bike. But the thing is learning to ride the bike first. That's the hardest bit. Once you get the confidence to do it and you start to understand what to do and how to do it, the ability to do it increases, and your ability to focus in the right way increases. And so therefore you get to a point where what you're doing is natural. It's like, it's just like breathing. You don't know you're doing it, but you are.
And then, Guy, I'm doing meditation since I think 6 weeks now, every day, and every day more than half an hour per day. That's what I'm doing. Is the quality important, or the quantity is more important?
Quality is more important at first, and then
Okay.
later you'll get quality and quantity.
Okay. The quality means the inner peace time. You can see the purple light. Is that a good quality?
It's a start.
It's just a start.
It's a
Okay.
start, yeah. It's a start.
Wow, that's good.
Start. It's a very good start.
But, what is good quality meditation for you?
Well, communicating with source or any other entity. But good quality meditation is when you're not thinking of different things. You're not getting distracted by jobs you've got to do around the house, or things you have to say to people, or the jobs, or scheming and planning that we do. Yeah, that's good quality. When you're not thinking, that's good quality.
Not thinking, and just not thinking. Okay, we don't think anything. We just peacefully sit there. Maybe like normally people use like breathing, just focus on the breathing, or maybe focus between the eye and that part.
Yeah, both of those. Yeah, both of those is good. Yeah,
that's okay already.
Yeah, but breathing. I mean, if you focus between the eyes, you're focusing on the origin of the spiritual third eye, which is excellent. If you're focusing on your breathing, you're using the version of pranayama, which is excellent. So those things are very good. Nice. If you're focusing on something, it means that you're focusing on that and not on lots of other things you've got to do.
Yeah, that's difficult. Okay, I always something come out like.
Yeah, it is difficult. It's very difficult, and this is why most people after a couple of years have stopped, because they don't achieve what they think they should have achieved in the time that they've dedicated to it. But it's it's a long road. Long road.
Like me, you sit there, think absolutely nothing, only focus that two things. And for how long? Like people can do that all day?
Some people can do it for weeks. Some of the yogis in India. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hear a guy from China. He's it's not a Buddhism. It's a kind of Buddhism as well. And he died when he was 104 years old, and he doing meditation. He just said like he said once you sit there for 3 days, no drink, no food, and you don't even feel hungry or thirsty, and you just it's so peaceful and comfortable sitting there, you will know what I'm talking about.
He's right. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
That means he sit there 3 days. I know he don't think anything else. Is he traveling?
He may be.
Okay.
He may be. Yeah, he may be. Without doubt, he may be.
Like I'm still thinking when people sit there thinking nothing, but only focus in between the eye or focus on breathing for 3 days without traveling. Is that possible? Like that's all he do.
Well, he can be in communion. It's more likely he will have moved somewhere. He will have moved his consciousness somewhere, and will be experiencing something, or in a dialogue with another entity, or just experiencing bliss.
Okay, that can be a bit difficult to for me to think about it. But like you see, yes, you discharge from the body or you think, but that's not your, it's not your thinking, or it's like you suppose not thinking anything. Now you can talk to somebody, or you have that kind of imagination, or I'm just thinking, what's the definition between the two of thinking nothing, only focus between the eye, or you are traveling and you actually talk to somebody, or you travel to different space, that can be totally different, is it? Or you can easy to distinguish between the two.
The one is the key to the door to the other.
Sorry, I didn't follow that part.
Me too.
The being in control of yourself to the point where you're experiencing nothingness for hours on end is the key to the door to experiencing detachment of the sentience from the body and communicating with other entities.
Control the body first.
Control the body first.
Yeah.
Control the body. In controlling the body, you control the mind.
That's important. What we're doing meditation now is the first step, control our body.
Yes. And if you look at yoga, okay, yoga was designed to allow you to control the body, and in controlling the body, you create focus. When you create focus, you control the mind. And eventually you don't use hatha yoga, which is physical yoga, what the Westerners call yoga, which is putting the body into certain postures. It's basically mental yoga, like Raja yoga or Kriya yoga.
Yeah, understand. That's important. What I think after talk to you for years now, Guy, the fundamental thing is actually doing the meditation and control our body. Of course, we learn from books and from you, Guy, and to make sure we are in the right direction, rather than just after to keep doing this. We have to know, is that correct? Is that the right way to follow? Because people do say some other people is not right in this world.
There are many ways to connect to the greater realities, I call it, and some of them are very fast and some of them are very slow. Most of them are very slow. So it's not a case of whether it's right or wrong. Most of them, if they're not pure, will take a long time. You'll be wasting a lot of your life doing it. Whereas if you can use some of the pure ones, for instance, like Kriya yoga, like some of the work I've done, then you get there faster. But it does take dedication.
Yeah.
When you say control the body, it doesn't mean your body can make any gesture or something like that. It means because yoga is like making your body in different shape or.
Well, there's lots of different types of yoga, you see, and they all go from physical to energetic ways of doing things. So it's a case of we progress from being very physical. I mean, all martial arts are the same. We progress from being very physical to being very spiritual. That makes any sense, or energetic. So yoga is a good example. Most martial arts are a good example. I mean, in China, for example, you won't, as a young person, you wouldn't learn Tai Chi because you wouldn't be able to understand what high-level Tai Chi is all about. So you would learn Kung Fu or other functions of martial arts. Whereas it's the same in yoga. You won't learn Raja Yoga or Kriya Yoga first unless you are able to, unless you've got a really good teacher. And you would go to work on the physical side first to use that as a focus to enable you to concentrate in the right way. And then you can, then you no longer need to have the physical side. You no longer need to move your body into certain positions because you can control your mind at will, not through an interface, which is the exercises.
Since I'm still far away from controlling my body, so also not my mind. So how does it look like when you can control your mind? Means you can think or not think, or you how does it look like?
It's, you have to experience this. It's like being able to sit and look and not think. If you can sit and look at a landscape and just look at one point of the landscape and then zoom into that point in the landscape and go and look even deeper into that point into the landscape and not think about it, not discuss it in your mind, not think about something else, not think about looking at other parts of the landscape on that picture, then that's what it's like. It's like total focus.
Okay. Total focus. But when you also, I don't know if this is related. So when you could total focus, when you could see this, can you also see starting seeing the invisible spirit, high frequency or low frequency, or
yeah,
there's no links?
Yeah, because what happens then is when you start to detach from the gross physical, you start to observe things from a higher frequency level. And that higher frequency level means that you're not limited to what your physical eyes see. You start to see things through the spiritual or third eye. And when you see things through the spiritual or third eye, you see other frequencies as well. So you see other things that are here, that are outside the visual range and the perceptual range of the eye. So, and also you're not restricted to the vision of the eye. You can see spherically. So you see, at the same time as you see forwards now with your eyes, you also see things behind you and above you, below you, and to the left and to the right, all at the same time.
Yeah. I know I cannot say there is a good or bad meditation, but which meditation is the most efficient one to increase your frequency?
One where you don't start to think about other things. That's the way to do it. That's the best one. That's the best meditation, where you're focused on just being focused, and you're not letting your mind wander about this or about that, or your mind's chattering.
Because most of the time when I meditate, I use your method to go to travel with the frequency and the traverse the frequency.
Yeah.
So that's the way I use. And sometimes, most of the time, I don't. I mean, it doesn't matter which level I went up. I hardly meet people. I mean, meet spirits. I did, but not always. Many times I was alone.
It's okay. Don't worry. Just keep doing it. Not everybody meets different entities, and it doesn't matter if you do or you don't. It's just being there that counts. So don't worry. So don't worry about whether you experience the ability to communicate with an entity every time. And I don't. So it's not really important to to experience everything. What is important is that you recognise that you are able to and you are detaching from the standard way of thinking and behaving whilst in the physical closing your eyes. Because most people, when they meditate, their mind starts to wander. They think about this, they think about that, they think about the shopping lists, they think about the work they've got to do on the car or the house, they think about going to pick the kids up from school, what they're going to make for the dinner, what they're going to make for tea, what meetings they've got to go to in the morning. And these things are the things that whiz around your mind. And these are the things that stop you from focusing on just being.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Guy, for us, like, do we, is that good to go dig into all different kind of people's books and to learn from different resources, and or just focus on one and complete one? What's the best way to do?
Best way to do is to find which of these individuals is your best teacher. Who do you resonate with the best? Who do you feel that what they're saying is in line with your own thought processes, and then you follow those. And then later you might find that you graduate from that person to somebody else, and they can take you higher. But basically, at the start, it's a case of have a look around and see what takes your attention, and then when you follow that teacher or that philosophy or that thought process or that meditation modality, and you master it, then you may move on to another one. But I feel that if you just look at one first, you may not be going and using the most efficient one for you first. It's better to shop around, so to speak, and then settle on the one that you feel is most in keeping with your own level of understanding, your own evolution, and your own thought processes, and your own capability of expansion.
Yeah, from master point of view, like teacher point of view, Guy, you are the only one for me at the moment, and I did not really, but I just from the book, so resources and researching different books and loads of publication there, like, you know, I am read few already. I find a lot of them talk the same thing. They target the same thing from different angle, to be honest. Which is good. Which is good. I mean, like how can I reinforce what I'm thinking, the right way to go. Yeah, but I still did not find exactly what I want, to be honest. It's just like what I want to be, who I am, and those things. I don't know. But I'm still searching. I'm still how can I say? I'm still try to get that answer, and through meditation, through books, and through you know, podcast and everything.
Well,
you think?
to be honest, I mean, if you followed my work, and I'm delighted that you are, and I'm humbled that you are. I'm always humbled that people follow the work I've dedicated myself to. Then you will have a good start point, and you will have a good, probably even a good end point as well, to be honest. But you have to remember that every so-called spiritual leader is only a stepping stone for the student who wants to progress, because progression is never ending. And so a teacher can only take a student to a certain level, the level that they've achieved themselves. So when you find a teacher, you might find that teacher can, even me, they'll take you to a certain level, and hopefully somebody else will come along that can take people further. And that's the beauty of it. We're always standing on the shoulders of giants, and so when you feel you've got enough, or you can go, you feel you can go further, then that's the time when it's your role to start to maybe share your experiences and help others get further than what you got with me or somebody else. There's I'll give you a slight quote. There was a chap called Roy Eugene Davis, who was one of the last of the young disciples of Paramahansa Yogananda, and he was talking to Yogananda about knowing God, about samadhi, which is being in the blissed state. And he said, well, how many people get to know God? And he said, not many. Not many yogis get to know God. Ah. And then he says, is that it? And Yogananda says, no, there's more. There is the ability to go beyond God, what I know now as being the absolute or the origin. And then this young disciple said, and how many people go beyond God? And he said, very little. of the not many that know God, significantly lower numbers go beyond, because they get stuck in a certain level that they think they made it. So there's always progression.
Yes, that's good. That's good. I know what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to do. Like, that's lovely. Yeah. So, Guy, I will follow you. That's for sure. Just it's not just from the friends and trust and those things. I just found there is some kind of a connection between us. You know, it's not just randomly it happens. You know, you are the first person, and then very comfortable with me as well from my side. So how can I start? I have the book. I just start reading the book, your book, to follow, or what's the best way to start with you?
Start reading the books, and there's also correspondence courses on the website, which is www.beyondthesource.org, and look for the correspondence courses, because you can learn how to do a good, robust, repeatable, and effective psychic shield on there as well. You can also learn how to traverse the frequencies. There's the first two levels there, and when people get past the second level, I tend to deal with them more personally rather than via a correspondence course. So people can achieve this by correspondence course, or by going on the courses that before the COVID pandemic, I was holding all over the world, and Sabrina's attended one of the earlier ones in Switzerland. So the way to do it is to follow the correspondence courses. They'll be there. They're on the website, and they're very cheap, very, very cheap. So it's not it's there for everybody.
Lovely. The website is your own website, is it?
Yes, it's mine. Yes.
Okay.
My own website.
Yeah. That's okay. So I will start from there. That's what I want to do.
Good. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and everybody that participates, they're all like souls on the journey, and I'm sort of helping them to go along the road this road, making sure the road is straight for them.
Yeah. You know what? That's the best way. I've been learning a lot from you, Guy, and then we're gonna continue. It's a long way to go for us. Like we're still.
It's a long way to go for me as well. Still, it's a never-ending journey. Never-ending journey.
Okay, Guy, I'm in your website, and then I just click the event. Is it a lecture? Is it? That's the one I'm follow?
No, you go for correspondence courses. If you want to
correspondence courses. Okay.
That's to do the correspondence courses. The events one for things like lectures are. Really, the events one is for the workshops, and if I'm doing lectures. But again, the lectures aren't really there at the moment. So the only lectures we're having are the ones as part of the World Satsanga, which are once a month.
Let me do this physical shield. I do first. I will book it now.
Okay, psychic shield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it
Yeah.
with focus, and do it with the knowledge that it's going to work. Not believe it or think it or hope it does, but know it's going to work.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, I do this first. It's like you kind of check up one by one, isn't it? Yeah, I will do that. Guy, I will book this today, and that's a good start for me. Happy out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, lovely, and it's
Okay.
really yeah, appreciate it.
It's been good. It's been good to speak to you both, and looking forward to the next time.
Oh, 100%. Guy, I will. I have the record, and I'm going to get record from Sabrina, the starting part. I edit it and put in the picture and the start and the end, and I'm going to upload it to GTV and YouTube. Is it okay?
Absolutely. Yes, no problem at all.
Yeah.
If you give me the link, I'll put it on my website as well.
I will send you the copy. I put in the Dropbox or somewhere, and then I can share the whole copy, so at least you have everything. Okay.
Okay.
Lovely.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Is it finished? I still have one question.
Go on.
Oh, one question. Then we'll leave the listeners to absorb the information.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about your healing course. So how is it? How is it going?
It's going okay. It's a challenge because the first time we're doing it, and we're having to do it over I think it's Voove, which is the platform that my agent Leo is using. But it's working. The whole point is we can do 3 weeks. They're spaced out every 3 months via live streaming, and the last one will be done in China. So the last one will be physically in China, and it's working well. We've got 28. We've had 28 students, and out of those 28 students, 17 of them are continuing with the course, and will continue and will graduate at the end of the year. 11 of them just wanted to do the first part, just to learn some basic healing techniques.
Nice. I should join that.
Okay, lovely to see you. Wait, if you haven't already joined, it's probably best to do it next year now, because we've already had 1 week. So yeah, so the next year it'll probably be improved.
Okay. Hopefully next year we can do it face to face in Rio.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
I booked my course already, so
Connection is really bad, Tom.
Yeah, I think now is a good time to finish. I think.
Yep, now is a good time to finish.
Starting to lose that bandwidth. Okay.
So next time will be 6 weeks later?
Yes, I'll send you a date and a time. It'll be a Wednesday again, but I'll send you a date and a time.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yep, have a nice evening.
And you, much love to you both, and keep up the good work.